And are you keeping well?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. I'm living a clean, healthy life. Cold showering in the mornings, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Keeps the doctor away. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, lots of gym, lots of playing a bit of football. Saw Eddie yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Shut up.
No, yeah. So she got in touch, and we've kind of been talking and might do some writing together and stuff.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of the podcast then. We don't need to talk about anything else.
Yeah.
I better steer away from anything controversial. I don't want to jeopardize any of this.
I haven't been around long enough for any of that to come up yet, but give it time. I'm sure it'll develop as it always does. No, it's been good. It's been good. She reached out, and I'm pretty pleased she did.
That is so. Honestly, it's an exclusive. I think I am so happy.
I'm totally
No. I am super chuffed because what the main thrust of my discussion with you was going to be, you two are meant to be together from a writing perspective. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's not even in question. And I'm saying this publicly because, I'm not saying it directly to Elly's face because I'm a coward, but I'm not a coward really. But I didn't want to cause any controversy. But you clearly are meant for each other in that respect.
I mean, it's kind of funny because the first time we'd spent any time in the studio was yesterday together. I mean, we've been speaking before that, and she had some demo ideas, and they were kind of lots of ideas, but all jumbled all over the place, like typical artists, really. And I said, why don't you put that there, do that there? And and she's like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And it kind of just started shaping up, and I think, that's how we work. That's how we always worked. She kind of throw loads of stuff at me, and I'd say, that's good. That's not, leave that. And it kind of, it's very immediate with us, it's so quick. So yeah, I said it, she said it feels just like old times. I said, yeah, it does.
Oh my God.
Lots of humor as well. She's got a great sense of humor as well.
Yeah.
So helps.
This is, my God, what a great Christmas present this is. Because, I'm good friends with Elly as well, and you, and I've always believed that at some point this probably would happen. I think maybe, I mean, Elly better than me, but I think Elly had to almost go through the absence of you to understand what it meant.
Absolutely. Well, it's like, you've been in a band for years. You've been in several bands. You know what it's like. I mean, you go through these phases together, and sometimes you want to be together going through the phases, and sometimes it's best to be apart or whatever. It's like them in a relationship, really.
Really it is, because you have to like each other, particularly if you're touring, and also, my God, I mean, spending months on end in a studio together, you've got to like each other, or else what are you doing it for? Exactly. So, wow, well, that's brilliant news. I'm kind of stunned. That's like I'll tell you what it's like one of them Christmas movies where you've got this really dramatic film, and then we don't know what the ending is yet, by the way, of course. It could have still all fall apart, but that it's a bit like Wonderful Life or something, But anyway, wow.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy for you both, actually.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting.
Good. Oh, great. So let's go back to when you were growing up. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in southwest London, Twickenham around that way, near the river. Richmond Bridge. Walked over that every day for school. Yeah, very bohemian back then. Very different from what it is now. Very posh now.
Oh yeah.
It's a much more arty sort of place. You had the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger living up there. You had Rod Stewart drinking around there, people like that. So my mum would always quote from those kind of days. Albert Finney, those kind of people used to hang around there. So I grew up in that kind of very bohemian 60s sort of hangover vibe around southwest London.
I'm going to ask you how old you are because A, you're not a lady.
No, you can ask me. I'm 55.
55. No, it's important for context in terms of influence and stuff. So you don't look it, mate. You look fine. Them influencers are great, aren't they? I love them. No, seriously, you look great.
Thank you, man.
But yeah, we used to spend a lot of time in Twickenham because Ian used to live on Montpellier Row,
Oh, really?
just by near Eel Pie Island, and Marble Hill Park, and so that's where we used to write all the time, and for like 4 or 5 years with M70.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, small world. So, right, tell me about your earliest kind of musical influences then. I mean, have you got brothers and sisters?
I'm not. I'm an only child. So my parents were divorced when I was 3. And so I was with my mum, single parent family in the 70s. But both my parents were massive music fans, as often is the way with people like us. We grew up with music around us from a very young age. So I was just always in their record collection. I played their records more than they did. Even though they played a lot of music. So David Bowie was on my radar very quickly, very early. So my favorite album, probably of all time, is Hunky Dory. And I used to play that record over and over again. I was just fascinated by everything about it. The songwriting, the lyrics, the imagination of the lyrics and where the lyrics took you in your head. Some of the sounds there. It's the first time I had a sort of synthesizer, which is at the beginning of a track called Andy Warhol. So that was totally captivating. And then there's also, I listened to a lot of things like Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd's second biggest record, I think, after Dark Side of the Moon. And that's the first time I had synthesizers and that kind of stuff on machines, all those kind of things. I loved the sounds on that record, and there's very guitar work, but a lot of keyboards and synth work on it as well. So,
yeah. Tell me about, I get asked this question a lot. Is like, it's a given that obviously I love synthetic music and electronics, and the way it made me feel when I heard pop music with synthesizers in. Can you try and explain how you felt about it as a child or a teenager or whatever?
Yeah. I think for me, it's the otherworldliness that they took you to when you heard some amazing landscapey, synthy, sweeps or chords, progressions. And the way I kind of lived in the moment through listening to it, it just took me out of myself, made me kind of just connect with the music, and I was somewhere else for a moment. And I was fascinated by the opening of oscillators and things, sweeping sounds, and you couldn't do that. My mum had an upright piano in the living room, and I used to listen and play the keys and stuff, and just listen to this because I was listening to sound, but you couldn't do much more than that. But with a synth, I remember asking her when I was 7 or 8. She said, "What do you want for your birthday this year?" I said, "Can I have a synthesizer?"
Really?
Yeah. And she said, "No, fuck off. It's
Ruiners.
it's too expensive." She was a single mum at the time. But that's, I wanted one immediately. I wanted to know more about them. Yeah, because you can do so much with them, and they're very hands-on. They're very hands-on instruments. And that's what I love about them. And especially if you're not a great musician like I'm not.
I'm not either.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a great pianist or anything like that.
I've no ambition to be either. I keep thinking, during lockdown, I thought maybe you should. Now's the time to take a proper keyboard course, online, because there's loads of them. And I thought, do you know what? I don't want to change the kind of the kind of template, really.
Yeah.
Well, why would I? I don't want to be a virtuoso player. I'm not interested in it. It might make me drop into patterns that I don't want, basically. So that's
So I think when you love synths, I think it's like drummers. They'll always listen to the drummers or the drum patterns in tracks, or they'll always listen to John Bonham's drumming or people like that. they'll listen to the drumming in the track. They'll look out for the drumming. I'll look out for the synths. Even in Duran Duran records, you know, I loved all the synth work on Rio much more than the guitar work, you know. I like Nick Rhodes is kind of my favourite member, you know.
Right.
All the kind of landscapey stuff. So, you know, that's kind of what I always drew me to drawn into.
I thought you were. It's been coming back to me recently. I think one of the most underrated bands in terms of sonic electronic textures. When they were compatriots of ours, with Simple Minds, their early albums. They kind of got forgotten now in the whole kind of stadium rock thing, but really beautiful stuff, a lot of it. And
I Travel. I mean, you know,
yeah,
I mean the introduction to that, and that still sounds massive. That track, I mean,
absolutely.
John Leckie produced that.
That's right. He produced some of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the early Simple Minds more than the later stuff. Up to Glittering Prize, that album, New Gold Dream. That's where they were still using a lot of synths. Then after that, it went much more rocky. That's my favourite period up to that.
Defo. And so, who did you have, like, you know, kind of daft bands and stuff when you were growing up?
Daft bands.
Yeah, I mean, you had, I call them daft bands. We had me and Glenn were in about, I don't know, 10 before we started taking it seriously. I mean, we didn't perform publicly. We used to perform for our friends in this youth club thing we used to do.
Yeah, stuff like that. At college, when I was at sixth form college in North London, I was in North London then. I was living at my dad's, and he was in North London. So I was at Islington Sixth Form Centre.
Right.
I had kind of not done very well at school. Because I was just wanting to do music. I kind of knew what I wanted to do, so I really kind of didn't pay much attention to much else. I was obsessed with music, and so I was redoing some exams there, and they had a studio there, and it was fantastic. They had this little recording studio, and I basically got kicked out of this college, because I was always in the studio. I was never anywhere else.
I mean, now you go to a music college, right? Obviously.
Yeah. And Margaret Maiden, her name was the principal there, and she was such a nice lady. She said, "Look, you know, you can come back and use the studio if you."
Oh,
and she was so nice, and so I did. So I just went up there. I had a lot of friends there, and I just was in the studio. There's a guy called Heffy in there. There's another kid there. This guy called Heffy. He ended up working with Trevor Horn a lot. And that's where he started.
Is that right?
I was always on the synths in the other room. So the Juno 6, we had some drum machines, 303s, that kind of stuff. And he was always in the control room. That's where his head was at. So we were always putting ideas together. He was recording the things that I was doing, and we were just learning how to do it.
How beautiful. And did you have, so you were doing it, you were self-taught essentially as a synthesist and a soundscapist, presumably. Did you learn just hands-on by using the machines? Is that right?
I mean, it was basically, I mean, I was obsessed with sort of arpeggiation at that time. You know, I loved doing arpeggiated stuff and trying to mess around with that with the Junos and things. So that was quite interesting, and all that sort of stuff really coming out got me excited. But then, funny enough, then sort of 90s kicked in, and it was all about samplers. So then I got into those, and they're quite similar because you can sweep, you can go into a sample and you can make it sweep and oscillate and do all sorts of things that you can do with synth. Very similar, similar functions.
Yeah.
So I just spent the 90s filtering, oscillating samples and making dance tracks.
Yeah, rinsing it out, man. And all that, yeah.
Yeah.
I worked with a couple of programmers. I worked with a couple of programmers at that point who had got an entire language for what they were doing with the, mutating samples and everything. I'm going, just fucking, use the same language as me. You're doing a filter sweep and all that. And I'm going, no, it was all, rinsing and twisting and all that bollocks. Interestingly enough, the sampler thing kind of appeals, I think, to the more obsessive nature of people making music. You know, like it's very process intensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like when you get, I mean, I had a Roland, whatever it was, 700, was it? Sampler, which is like a kind of Rolls Royce compared to the Akai. It sounded amazing. And that was my workhorse for many years, actually, on production. But it was still fiddly to use, even though it got a screen. You could have an outboard monitor on it as well. And I remember buying it from Psycho Systems, and it cost like 10 grand or something. And then, of course, the price point came down for all the Akai stuff, didn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. The Akai's were, well, I had Akai 1100s. S1100s. I had a couple of those because you get eight outputs on each one of those.
I know, right?
Pretty amazing. I mean, that's a pretty powerful tool there. So, I mean, I would have all of those running and all of them on dance record I was making. I was DJing at that time. In the 90s, I went into DJing, and the whole rave scene was really exciting. But I still always had my heart always in electronic music. I mean, it's just another version of electronic music.
It is. That's what I said. It's difficult at that point. It was difficult to say what was electronic and what wasn't, what isn't. And now it's impossible. You know, everything's treated electronically. It's all in the box mostly. Anyway. So, interesting. I'm just fascinated with the DNA of how people become so kind of emotionally engaged with synthetic sound. I think, so I've talked to, as you know, on the podcast, I've talked to everybody from, you know, pure electronic musicians through to, you know, Tony Visconti, who used a lot of synthesizers on all our favorite records. And, I mean, and everybody kind of approaches it from a slightly different perspective. It's very interesting. There's a lot of the American synthesizers, when they were popular in the 70s and 80s, were designed around musicianship. That's why they sounded great for live touring and studio and everything, and the oscillators were great and everything. But they weren't as extreme as I didn't find as the Japanese filters and the Japanese sound. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with that. I mean, I think the Yamahas and the Rolands were, I mean, if you listen to, you know, it's funny enough, I was listening to a bit of Travelogue yesterday. I'm trying to date this girl at the moment, so I'm making her a playlist, and it's all...
It's a lot of work.
She's into metal. I don't know anything about electronic music, so, you know, help me out.
I recommend.
I'll do your playlist. So I've been putting some early Human League on there as well.
Right, thank you.
No, my pleasure. Well, it's great stuff. It still sounds good today. And so yeah, some of the stuff on Travelogue, you know, the opening of the Hit of Space.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the extremity of the distortion with the filtering you've got going on there, you can tell that that's obviously what sounds like a Japanese synthesizer to me.
Yeah.
And that's what you get with those. I mean, I prefer them myself. But I'm always, I mean, even the DX7 is a lovely synth in its own way.
Well, I don't know about that.
No, I like its glassiness. You know, I like its glassiness. It has its uses. It's got a very glassy sound, a very transparent sound. But it's bloody impossible to fucking use.
Yeah, to program, it's a nightmare.
No, it is. It's too complicated. But you can get your head around it, but it takes ages. But those synths, that's kind of the beauty of them. You spend a lot of time on them because you want to, you know. You know.
Remember when DX7, Yamaha brought out the first kind of outboard editor, as that you could look on a computer and you could edit on the computer. And I thought, oh, this is great. It's going to make things so much easier. It's going to be like... And it was even more impenetrable. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an FM synthesis fan. It had some uses, I agree. But anyway. What was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you about... So you kind of learnt songwriting just by trial and error. Is that right? Or did you kind of try and reproduce other people's work and see how that was all knitted together and try and replicate some elements of it? Or
Well, I think I always took an interest in lyrics, so, Bowie, I mean, his lyrics are really out there, interesting, take you to places that you wouldn't normally, the way he puts words together, you just talks a lot about otherworldly things, space oddity and all that kind of stuff. So, he was always pioneering in that way. And also Lennon, John Lennon, my dad was a big John Lennon fan. And so I had the Beatles sort of handbook in my father, from a very young age, him explaining all about Lennon. We had listened to the Beatles, we had listened to it, points out what was a Lennon song, what was a McCartney song. And the Lennon songs were always lyrically very, very fascinating, interesting, out there, otherworldly sort of, very, very, psychedelic, really, weren't they? So, so I always took an interest in lyrics. So songwriting in terms of that side of it, so came quite naturally to me in terms of lyrics writing. I like getting the melodies really, really tip-top and good, and then finding the words that work and make that melody really, really shine. Okay? And it can be one word that isn't right in one line that can kind of dampen the melody. So I really kind of spare tire on that. And when I work with people, we'll sing it line by line. Let's try it. And I get someone to play it and sing it and stuff, the singer who I'm working with, and you'll know there and then whether it's, happening or not. I just got to get a tissue. So it's that kind of
Go for it, mate.
It's
been me all week. I've been in bed all bloody week. Yeah. I've got a terrible cold.
Got a bit runny nose. So that's how, for me, it's bouncing ideas as well. It's very hard to write on your own, I find. Do it.
I agree completely. I need somebody to bounce off.
Yeah, me too.
Do you want to get a tissue? Have you got a tissue?
Yeah, I got one. Thanks. Yeah, I got
one. Right. So, I'm stepping very carefully here because I don't want to jeopardize this new reflowering of your creative work. But I'm genuinely interested because I never quite got to the bottom of it. What the roles of you two were in the songwriting in the Roux scenario?
Well, with us, Elly's very, very musical, much more musical than me in terms of her playing and stuff like that, which is something I discovered not straight away. I thought she was just a guitarist when I met her. So she was a folk singer when I met her. She had a very Joni Mitchell kind of thing going on.
Right.
She was
did some of that shit.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I was trying to find it the other day, and I can't find some of the songs because we first started recording. We recorded all acoustic music, and we wrote some really nice songs, but it was very hard to make it sound kind of fresh and real. And acoustic music has been done to death, and as everything has, but to make it contemporary again is I think quite a big challenge with acoustic music. I think there's a guy called Nick Mulvey who I like a lot. He's done that quite well recently. But it is, it's few and far between. But also she's very fearless. She's one of those people that's very fearless around instruments, so I had some synths and stuff in the studio, and she just got onto those things really quickly. So we would just load up sounds, and I'd say, right, what should we do with this sound? I'd just give her a sound, and she'd play something, and we'd record a bit of it. And then I remember once with Bulletproof, the first thing that we came with that, I'm a listener really. I listen in to what people do and then pick things. And I was on the phone in the studio. She was messing on a synth sound and playing an arpeggiated chord progression that she was just jamming basically. And I wasn't listening to anything that the person on the phone was saying because I thought that's really good.
Yeah.
Just went up to her and clicked my fingers. And because I was busy doing something, and she did, and that was the beginning of Bulletproof. I knew that chord progression and the sound, everything had something.
It's a work of pop reading. Yeah.
Well, she was just doing a thing. So she does her thing, and I noticed
It's the classic producer role, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is that.
I mean, lies in the 70s producer, or 60s. Of the producer in those days was not just somebody who put the whole thing together. He was the didn't have to be he. He was the arranger, would source the instrumentalists if necessary. Basically was the director and producer of a film. I
mean, I think it is like being a director of a film, isn't it? It's I think I see the bigger picture. She doesn't see the bigger picture as much as I do, but I'm not as good at experimenting with riffs and ideas.
There's the magic right there.
I can with my hands as she is. So it's a really good thing, I find when I'm playing on the keyboard, I'm in my head's in the keyboard and I'm there, I'm not really thinking about the rest of it. So I like to step back and bring musicians in as and when, works for me, always has done.
The new stuff that you're kind of starting to work on, are you going to keep it as electronic as the original album?
God, yeah. We're too obsessed with electronica and what it can do, and what we still are fascinated by looking into what else we can do with it, and how we can manipulate it. So I think it's pretty much a given that it won't be totally electronic. That's what I want to do, really.
Yeah, of course. If you ever want to use my System 100, you're more than welcome to come into the studio and record some stuff.
Martin, well, I'm sure we'll look you up on Roux, because I think she's got it in her head that she wants to do something, and I think I've got to somehow convince her a little bit that it may be not totally the route to go. So she, for instance, she's listening to a lot of hip hop at the moment, which she never was listening to when we started, which I love. I grew up.
I love hip hop. Yeah,
I love it.
I mean, most of it.
With Elly, when she's passionate about something, right, that's it. I want to do hip hop. And I'm like, okay. So the ginger girl from Brixton, very, very becoming a hip hop artist. I don't know what playlist you're going to get on if we, because things are so different.
I don't know about that. I mean, it could work. It just depends how good it is, like everything,
Well, no, totally. But I think.
But you're talking about getting rappers in and stuff.
Well, I mean, she's curious about exploring that route, and I think it's a good thing to explore. But it's got to be done in a way that's also authentic to her, because.
I think the worst thing you could do is only my opinion, and I might be completely wrong, is to fall between two stools. So you're aiming for something, you miss it, but it's not in an interesting way. It's kind of like it's not quite authentic. So you don't get the hip hop people into it, and you don't. Listen, everybody's prone to the possibility of this. Even Prince, for instance, he was obsessed with appealing to the black market at one point, wasn't he, in the late 80s, early 90s? And then he got over it, but it was like a good 3 or 4 albums worth of stuff. He did the Black album, didn't he? And he was desperately trying to be the hardest nosed kind of gangster rapper kind of, and it just didn't suit him properly. He's like, I'm gonna fuck you, baby, and all. It's like, no, you're a different creature. Just don't try and be something you're not.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's just a little caveat that I'd say.
True, he had a rock side to him as well, which was also, Purple Rain, all that stuff.
Yeah, great.
Jackson, a bit like Michael Jackson, he had a black side and a white side,
Exactly.
Break it down. But I mean, with Elly, I said that to her yesterday. I said, look, we do have hip hop in, I said, the verse of Bulletproof is like rapping. Been there, done that, messed around. It's kind of like, I said, it's kind of like really fast. It's a fast rap. It's more than it's not. It's more than singing.
Here, I've got a good question for you. Have you had a lot of requests for samples of your tracks for like hip hop artists?
Not that I know of. But
Interesting. I would have thought you would have.
Well, no, because they loved us in America. The hip hop artists loved us. They've heard and they're the big ones as well. People like Dre and all those guys loved our beats because we were very crisp and sharp with our beats and what we did with them. And the hip hop community loved it, which we had no idea that it appealed to them, which it did. So
It was the same with 17. You know, we were quoted by the original kind of, you know, house dudes from Chicago as being one of their influences. And
yeah, all connected. I mean, well, as you know, you're one of our biggest influences as well.
oh, shucks.
Well, that's why we did the BBC thing, right? I mean,
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
yeah, it was awesome. I wish we could do it again.
Well, we should. Do you know what? I think they'd bite your hand off. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because they're so devoid of inspiration, aren't they? A lot of the time, the BBC shows. And the fact that it was the most popular thing on the red button, more than Robbie Williams. Do you remember that?
No, I didn't.
You got like that session we did at Maida Vale, we were told was the highest viewership of any red button event.
Wow.
That music event that they'd had at that time. It's like 3.5 million views or something.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we should definitely consider that. Yeah, I was a bit pissed off that we didn't get to put out our version of Temptation though, because they couldn't get a Radio 1 to play it because we were too old, you know.
Yeah, it's a fun. This is shame because it's a good version. Actually, it was a really good version.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, have a think about it. We'd definitely be up for it. I know that.
Maybe we should just do it. Yeah, but it doesn't matter now, does it? We could just do it. We could just record it and put it up on Spotify. I mean, it doesn't matter now.
Didn't matter, will it? I mean, it's no skin off our nose. We're not earning any money off it anyway. You know.
You know, why don't we do a cover? We just do it because you know.
I don't know who
we own the recording, don't we?
Yeah, do we own the recording? That's the question because it's done on BBC premises.
No, but if we re-record it.
Oh, we could re-record it. Yeah.
Our version of it.
Well, yeah. Oh, we could definitely do that. Right. So where were we? Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. So tell us about I'm now talking to Elly about this when she did the podcast. The madness of, you know, the extreme madness of going to America and how that blew your mind.
It was I mean, at one point, one year we went out there 9 times. We went top 10 there, and we did a big house. I don't know if you've ever come across these. In LA, for a station called Kiss, they got Kiss out there as well. They do these big house parties on the beach. They hire
That's great.
one of these, amazing houses that is right on the beach in LA, and they fill it up with fans and people and obviously the radio hosts and stuff like that. And they do a show there, and then you do a live couple of songs, and it's basically a party, but broadcast live on Kiss. So we did that, and that was unbelievably exciting. And very good concept, I thought, and really very LA, but in a good way. You know?
We could do it in Southend, you know. It'd be just.
Oh, Brighton. I'm sitting where I am now. I keep trying to get Elly to come down here.
Yeah.
She said she wants to, but America was I love America because I just think America's like a great big playground, really, in many ways. But Elly can take it. She takes it a little bit more to heart out there. So there was a lot of pressure to sort of hang around with people like will.i.am and all that kind of stuff, which she hated. And I just said, look, they're just people at the same label. It doesn't matter. And so there was that going on.
I suppose it's like that's, you know, the celeb thing. She probably thought about it as a kind of watering down her authenticity, possibly. I don't know.
Well, there was that, but it was difficult. I mean, First off, we signed to Interscope in America, who were they're owned by Universal. We were with Universal anyway, and we would have gone East Coast, but they begged for us to go to them. So we thought, okay, we'll go with you guys and Jimmy Iovine and stuff like that, and so we went with them, and then they wouldn't go to radio with Bulletproof when it had when we'd had a huge success with it everywhere else. They said America wasn't ready for it, all this kind of stuff. And so we had sort of 3 months of going back and forth with them trying to get us to re-record it, or someone else, or to me to give them all the MIDI parts and all the...
No.
So Jazz Summers, our manager at the time, rang me up and said, what are MIDI parts and song arrangement parts? They want that off you. And I said, Jazz, you can tell them to fuck off. And they're not getting it. That means they want to change everything. She said, right, okay. So he basically went over there and kicked down doors and just persuaded them to go to a couple of radio stations as a test, small radio stations, one in Philadelphia and one in Illinois somewhere, in Chicago, maybe. And they tested 96% positive.
Wow.
They bulletproof. It was really, really a immediate comeback. And then we went to radio and went to top 10, and it was, a big hit. So that was what was dealing with the Americans line. So they beg you to sign to them. And then when you get there, they decide to kind of change their minds. And even though there's been success elsewhere with the same record. So we had a lot of frustrations like that, which I hadn't, I had no idea that was coming. But we got through it and we had our big hit out there. But then they wouldn't release Into the Kill. They wouldn't release it.
That's just ridiculous.
Even though it was nominated for a Grammy, Dr. Dre had just sampled it and it was being used on the end credits of one of the biggest.
Oh, what? Why?
Because so we had constant problems with America. It's kind of, unless you completely play their game how they want you to, they're control freaks, basically, when it comes to music business.
Yeah.
You're kind of always up against it as an outside artist. So yeah, it was tough, but I learned a lot and enjoyed it anyway. So we did some great tours there. We had a really great, massive following, which we still do, actually.
Do you service that? Do you service that following? I mean, do you keep in touch with them?
Yeah, there's some things like I've got some of the fans on Instagram. They follow me and they all follow Elly. And she's very, very, chatty with them and friendly with them. They're really nice people. A lot of them are very loyal.
Yeah.
And we won a Grammy. So,
Tell us about that. I mean, you just go, we won a Grammy. Okay. So, no, sorry, we have to rewind on that.
Yeah, sorry.
Because when I talked to Elly about it, she couldn't quite comprehend it. I mean, she thought, maybe some kind of payola thing or they were just there for set dressing just to sell a few records. But so tell us about how that came about.
Well, it came out in the blue, to be honest. I mean, I woke up, I had a text at 2:00 in the morning from Los Angeles, from our label, A&R man, Martin Kersenbaum, who was also A&Ring Lady Gaga at the time. And he said, congratulations on your 2 Grammy nominations. I thought it was a wind-up.
Yeah.
I thought, and I texted him, I said, thanks a lot, Ryan. Well, you're taking the piss, aren't you? And he goes, no, seriously. And then the next morning, our management rang us and told us it was, true. So we were up for, best, I think it was most electronic single or contemporary single track, which was In for the Kill, which never was released.
Oh! Did they release it after that? No?
Huh?
Did they release it after it was nominated?
No, we still...
What the fuck is wrong with these people?
I don't know. It's LA.
Oh my God.
I don't know. It's just, which I still don't know now. This is 10 years later.
Make that shit up.
So we basically went out there and went to the Grammys. It was crazy. And we won. We didn't win both. We won one. So for Electronic album.
That's fucking great, man. I'd be so utterly thrilled to do that with kind of marginal record company support as well.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bloody battle. I mean, we had some strong management, in terms of America. I mean, jazz is jazz, But he really did bang down some doors and get the thing through, get the tracks through and stuff, which was, I always thank him for that. It'd be grateful.
I'm just finishing writing my autobiography at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, it's coming out next autumn, and it's going to be called Electronically Yours, which is the same as the podcast. I only did the podcast as a trailer for the book, and now it's got its own. It's grown up and left home, the podcast. But anyway, I was just thinking just then. It just occurred to me that In for the Kill and Bulletproof are both great titles for an autobiography. Bulletproof especially is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just think about it.
Well, yeah. Who knows? I mean, maybe she can have.
I think with me, kid, I can get you a publishing deal. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. One more thing I need to mention before I forget is I'm sponsored by Teenage Engineering. You know those little synthesizers they do? You know about Teenage Engineering?
Yeah.
Right. They do pocket operators and they do the OP1 as well, which is amazing.
OP1, which
Well, they just brought out their version of a modular synth.
have they?
They just sent it to me, and I'm just assembling it. You build it yourself. It's fucking amazing. I'm not just saying that because I'm sponsored by them. It's one of the most beautiful pieces of design I've ever seen. It's just thrilling the way it's packaged. So what I was going to say to you is, after this episode, I'm going to introduce you to the people at Teenage Engineering, unless you're sponsored by them already, and say, I'll say that, you want one. You need one, man. I'm telling you. It's the best toy you could ever imagine, but it's serious, and this sounds great.
No, I love the OP1. I mean, you got me onto that.
Yeah. Well, this is...
I've never heard of it until you mentioned it to me.
Well, look it up. When we finish this, it's only just come out. The Modular 400, it's called, and it's literally got it's got four oscillators. It's a bit like it's set up a bit like a System 100M or something. It's like
Right, has enough.
Yeah, and it's all patch cables and CV and gain. You can patch it into other things as well. Obviously, could patch it into.
Is they Swedish? Is they Swedish?
Swedish, yeah.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
I'd love to check that out.
And it's sunshine yellow. Sunshine yellow, I tell you. It's beautiful. Anyway, I'll introduce you after this. Email.
Great. That'd be great. I'd love that.
Email.
He's got new Roux stuff. We'll check it out.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah. No, she would love it. I know she would.
Always looking for new, slightly inspirational sound, different sounds and stuff like that. And I know you're the right man for that job. It just struck me that I'm on form today. I must be getting better.
Right.
So, right, where are we? So, that's what I had to say to you there. We're nearly... where are the bands? No. The Grammys, yes. The Grammys, good Lord. I will mention Kanye West. Well, I just mentioned him, but that's probably something best avoided. Do you think? Yeah.
Well, I mean, did you speak to Elly about him?
Well, she kind of skirted around the issue. I mean, I read the article, which is bizarre because
I wrote him an email of apology because she went out there and did a video with him for In for the Kill, and I mean he's pretty full on, should we say, and he basically took over this video shoot. I don't know if she told you.
No,
it doesn't really matter, so I can say it because it doesn't really matter because I have no relationship with him, and I respect him completely. He's eccentric, should we say? And so he took over this whole video shoot that we were doing in New York, and upset one of the models, female models.
Oh no!
He ran off screaming to the ladies, and Eddie went off to try and console her.
Oh,
I wasn't there, so I only heard this through TV. He basically caused mayhem in a very beautiful artistic way, should we say? I'm just very paraphrasing for what I've heard. And then a few months later, she ends up doing a session with an American writer who happened to be in the UK at the time, and our management said, "Why don't you guys get together?" I wasn't there. I didn't work on the session. And a guy called Jeff Basker, quite a big LA writer, and she relayed this story to Jeff Basker, and said, he was pretty crazy the way he behaved. I mean, it was pretty full on and lots of shit going on. And Jeff Basker was one of his best mates, Kanye West's best mate. Went,
oh no!
Told him.
Oh no!
And then Kanye West said, that's it. I'm not appearing on this track, for your American version of Into the Kill. That's it. Pull it, all this. And just said, that's it. He really, really took it badly. She had to kiss him.
Oh, shit.
Write him a letter of apology.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and graciously, I have to say, he took it. He took the apology, and he just said fine, and he was over it. And I really thought that was cool of him, actually.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because like he obviously regards himself as some kind of impenetrable king figure, you know, for that scene.
It's not the ego.
And Ellie's not short of a little bit of hubris either. So I can see it. I can see that completely.
Apart from all that, they got on really well. He took her down Fifth Avenue and bought her a couple of $2,000 pair of shoes worth about $2,000. He said, "We're going to buy." It's his decision. He decided to buy some shoes. That's what he wanted to do that day. There was nothing stopping it. So he was generous as well. You know, definitely an interesting guy. I like characters like that, to be honest.
I'm all for it, but not if they use their power in the wrong way. Yeah.
Absolutely right. No, I agree with that.
Okay, well, what a joy this has been. I mean, I knew it was going to be fun because we're good mates, but honestly, it's made my year possibly. This news that you're working together again, and I shall be contacting Ellie and telling her to get her shit together and do it properly. She will.
No, definitely. No, she's on good form. I had a really, you know, it's like we'd never been apart. It was really good. Because I don't hold grudges, even though.
No, I'm not a good shoulder at all.
I just don't go there. I'm not like that. And so as soon as she reached out, I knew it would happen at some point. Not in a big-headed way, but I was hoping it would happen, and it did. And, you know, it's been great. We've just been like remaining apart, so.
And it'll be, I know, I'm not just saying it like some kind of chat show host would. I know it'll be worth the wait. You know,
definitely. No, I really. If we take this on, well, I think we will. I mean, I'm going back there next week. So you know, we're both very, very. We're hard on ourselves in the way that we want something to be really, really spectacular. Otherwise, we're not going to do it. We want it to be a written impression. So, and do something really well. So, you know, take a bit figuring out because it's a new period in her life, especially she's the artist. I'm much more behind the scenes. So, you know, it's got to be kind of put together in a way that suits her and is where she's at right now. So,
exactly.
Authentic.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the smash hits type questions now. Your favorite things. What's your favorite book?
Oh God.
One of them.
Huh?
One of them.
My favorite book. Okay, I'm going to go for an oldie, but it's a great book, and that is Adventures in the Screen Trade by William Goldman.
Oh, I don't know that book.
Yes. And William Goldman wrote the script and screenplays for Marathon Man, the film Marathon.
Great.
And All the President's Men.
Yeah.
And it's a book about Hollywood and the whole Hollywood business in the 70s and 80s. So I'll go for that.
I love that. What was it? There's another book like that, isn't it? Oh, Raging Bulls and what's it called?
I know the one you mean.
You know, there's another one, and it's really good. All about Hollywood. Favorite TV show? Old, new, box set, doesn't matter.
I'd say Frasier.
I watch it every morning.
Yeah, it's just still so funny.
I mean, I think I've seen every single episode.
Yes, genius. And my latest, but my newest one, the latest one is Succession. I think Succession is. I don't know if you're watching that, but the writing is unbelievably good.
I'm going to have to watch that because everybody is quoting that as their favorite contemporary.
Yeah.
Favorite film?
Favorite film, Blade Runner.
Beautiful.
First one.
What do you think of the second one? What did you think of the second one?
Never as good as it. I mean, I don't know. It's just.
So it's like Ryan Gosling wandering around in a giant Amazon fulfillment sector full of smoke.
Dull. Style over substance, I'd say about.
Yeah, exactly.
First one is really. It still stands the test of time.
Yes, I agree. Epiphanal moment in your life. A fork in the road or a moments of realizing?
Getting clean and sober, dealing with my addiction demons, I'd say.
That's a big blow. Yeah.
I mean, I did the Roux album when I was using and drinking.
Right.
5 years. So I did my best work when I was not using.
Did you do the 12-step?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And are you still?
I'm still
Still doing it. So how long have you been clean? If you don't mind me asking.
I've been back. I had a little relapse 2 years ago. I've been back about 17 months now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Congratulations, mate. I know how hard it is. I'll explain when I next see you. Favorite visual artist or conceptual artist?
Can it be between for me? It's between Kraftwerk and Bowie. Really.
I don't mean musical artist. I mean visual artist.
Visual. So
like a painter or a sculptor or a.
David Hockney.
Okay, cool. If you had an alternative career, what would it be? I mean, if you'd never begun, it sounds like you were always destined to be a musician. But I mean, just let's say that never didn't work out. What would have been your second choice? Do you think?
Acting or football player.
Really? What position?
Yeah. No, not football. I still played.
What position do you play?
I'm a striker.
I knew you were going to say striker. You've got that kind of mischievous, finding the spaces and then running onto the ball.
You're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I wish you'd not mentioned that. But, it's an absolute disaster.
They'll come back.
Yeah, we will be back. So, we'll still be alive. Is another matter. And finally, your favourite synth?
Jupiter 8.
Right.
It's a beast.
Good.
Absolute beast. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. Actually, I've not told anybody this yet. I've been approached by a brand new museum in Frankfurt called the Museum of Electronic Music. Really? And they want to take the content of Electronically Yours and get me to curate a soundscape based on everybody's, and snippets from stuff in 3-dimensional sound. And we're going to have a station for various artists and stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to have we're going to have hopefully a bunch of synthesizers associated with different people I have interviewed. So
amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good exhibition. It's going to be.
When it's all done, we've got to go.
Oh yeah, it'll be May. I think they're talking about May or June next year.
Wow. That'd be great.
I'll let you know, and then anybody who gets used, I'll have to get permission from anyway. But I think it's a beautiful idea. It's like a Campbell's condensed soup of the whole podcast and kind of electronic beauty and love and everybody. I can divide things into themes. That's why I ask these questions at the end, because I can get different answers from different people to the same question. Good, that's it.
Thanks, mate.
Oh man, keep in touch. Didn't you get a chance to ask you about the future plans for your? Am I allowed to mention it? Your weren't you planning some kind of musical or something?
Yeah, I am. You know what? I'm still waiting for Phil to get back to me. We've written him a letter. I wrote him a letter.
Listen, I warned you. I said it's not going to happen.
He hasn't got back. His management hasn't got back. They've been contacted.
Oh man,
it's really frustrating. So I don't know what to do.
They're only interested in money. Let's put it that way.
Right. Fair enough.
If you say there's money in it, they'll probably go for it.
Right. Good. Thank you for the tip. I will.
I'll probably cut this bit out at the end. Chaz, if you're listening to this when you're ready to get, probably, or else I'll end up getting sued.
Where does this come up, this podcast, by the way? Where can you let me know where I can find it when you...
Oh, of course, I know. I'll send the link.
Across it again.
Sorry?
I'd like to listen to some of the others as well, so...
Oh, yeah, it's very easy to find. You just type in Electronically Yours with Martin Ware into Spotify or Apple or any of them, any of the podcast.
But now, Martin.
There's 70 episodes.
Oh, fantastic! This is great. This is my Christmas. This is my
My tip is. I mean, I've tried to get pretty much all the people you might like on there, actually. But I really like the Tony Visconti one, and Vince and Andy, you know, and the Gary Newman one. It's amazing. That's well worth listening to. It's the most popular one I've ever done. So until this one, of course.
I mean, he's one of my massive idols. In fact, I actually feel sad I haven't mentioned him in my chat with you, because he was a massive.
Well, you have now, so that's all right.
Now, yeah, you're all right with me.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what, I like his new stuff as well. He's pretty good. Yeah. All right, man. Listen, I'll have to see you in the flesh pretty soon.
I'll be in touch.
Yeah, and I'll send you a link to the Teenage Engineering thing.
Please do. That'd be great. Awesome.
Cool, man. Love you. Bye.
You too. Love you too, man. Take care.